What's up, ACTION-FLIX fanatics? This is John Jerva coming at you with a new episode of the ACTION-FLIX YouTube show. All right, everybody, I just want everybody to know that it's been a while since I've done a YouTube show. I started doing it last year or the year before. And then late September, October, I ran into some health issues. I was diagnosed with a neurological disorder. It's called functional neurological disorder. It affects the brain communicating to the body. So throughout, my podcasts and my shows, you'll notice that I stutter sometimes, and sometimes my train of thought goes. But I'm much better than I was when it first hit me. I had to relearn how to talk, how to walk, how to move, how to do normal functions. So it was a real true testament to my perseverance and getting better. But as you can see, I'm almost back to myself. And as you can see, I also have this going on right now. So this is a nice pack and this is a sling. I had rotator cuff surgery last Monday. So to add to my neurological disorder, now I got a surgically repaired rotator cuff, which I'm pretty much in some pretty good pain right now. But I'm plugging along. I've been keeping the website going, ACTION-FLIX.com. Thank you, everybody, for supporting. It's been a real good therapy for me to do the website when I've been going through all this. And I just wanted to thank everybody out there that have, expressed their thoughts and prayers to me. It's been a really hard time. I've been out of work since late September 29th, actually. So it's been a big deal. But like I said, I'm plugging along. This is my first live show. I didn't tell anybody I was doing a live show, but I will advertise in the future. So basically, my first episode, I thought I'd do a flashback review. Now, a flashback review is something I started on the website at ACTION-FLIX.com, which is a review of an older movie, so not necessarily a movie that has come out recently. I usually write it down. I usually do my reviews written, but as you can see, I only have one hand, and typing right now is a real chore for me. So I was like, how can I still do reviews right now with only one hand, being in pain? And I thought, well, let's do some shows. Let's do some live shows. I'm still doing my podcast. I've been interviewing a lot of good people. So if you guys can get past the stuttering, sometimes losing my train of thought, which, I'm dealing with it, so bear with me. This makes me happy what I'm doing, talking about action and everything. So I thought I'd review the 2015 action thriller Riot. Now, this is a film that stars what I think is one underrated action star. He hasn't actually done a lot of action movies throughout the years. His name is Matthew Reese. He's an actor, producer. He's a writer. He's also starred in movies like The 11th Hour, where he played a Navy SEAL. He also played in the movie One Shot, not to be confused with Scott Adkins' One Shot that just came out last year. His movie came out first, was called One Shot, which was more of a futuristic sniper action movie. And actually, I did review that on my website late last year, so check that out. And it also stars former MMA UFC champion Chuck Liddell, who pretty much is solid in any of these types of movies. He's a tough looking guy. He's a tough guy. So, he gets picked, to star in these action movies. And here he plays the heavy in the movie. He plays the bad guy. And then, of course, we got action icon Dolph Lundgren in the movie. So that's a pretty good triple threat right there for this movie. As you know, Dolph Lundgren speaks for himself. He needs no introduction. I actually interviewed Dolph late last year for his movie Castle Falls that he finally got to finish, that he started filming, when the pandemic hit. Then he had to shut it down and finally went back to it, filmed it with Scott Adkins. I got to interview him. That was a pretty big deal. I'd like to interview these other two, if the chances ever arose. So if they see this video, hey, hit me up. I'd love to talk to you. So let's talk about Riot. So Riot comes to us from director John Light, who actually has worked with Matthew Reese before. He's directed his movies One Shot and The 11th Hour, which I enjoyed both of those movies. They're low budget action movies. So, you pretty much know what you're in for when you're going to watch these movies. And I've been talking a lot with Owen Frill from the Action Elite. Owen over at the Action Elite. He does his show, Action Elite Live, The War Room. We actually just did one last Friday. I made my big triumphant comeback. We talked about Invasion USA with Chuck Norris, and had a great time being back and talking about that. But, we talked about, indie films and stuff like that. And, you can't compare indie films to like big budget blockbusters, because a lot of these movies have 15 days to shoot, if that, 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks if they're lucky, so they pretty much have no prep time, pre-production's even shorter, so when you watch these movies, you got to kind of like take note of what they had to work with and what they had with the budget. Now, this movie, right, is a prison movie. We've had a lot of action movies take place in prison. You had, of course, Jean-Claude Van Damme's Death Warrant, which is a famous one. This one stars Reese as I have notes written down there, so excuse me when I look down every once in a while, as Jack Stone. That's a great action name. He's a cop, or a former cop, who his wife was murdered by a very bad man named Balam, played by Chuck Liddell, who is a big time Russian kingpin. He's a ruthless operator of a Russian mob, and he ordered a hit on him and his wife. So Stone wants to exact revenge on him. So he robs his bank. So basically, this is a Russian mob fronted bank that he robs with him and a couple of his comrades, which of course they both get killed. But then Stone gets arrested and thrown into the same prison as Chuck's character, which is what he wanted all along, because he wants to take him out from the inside out. So it's actually, it's a pretty standard premise, in terms of story. It doesn't reinvent the wheel. It's your standard revenge thriller, which it's kind of interesting how Stone goes through, going robbing the bank, and actually kills his former partner in a pretty cool way. If you watch the movie, who's responsible for his wife getting killed. He works for the bad guys, and he pretty much jumps off with him off a roof and lands on top of him. Like, he uses him for an airbag. It's a pretty good special effect of the movie. You see, big splat go on when he hits, and he gets arrested, and he gets taken to prison, and his plan is in motion. Now, wouldn't you have it that in this prison is none other than Dolph Lundgren, who plays William. Now, this is actually kind of an interesting role for Dolph. Dolph takes a back seat to the movie, lets Reese do his thing. Reese is the hero of the movie. Dolph's just a supporting player, but he plays kind of like a mentally handicapped person, you think, because he's like real quiet, keeps to himself, kind of talks like a child. He's always mopping the floors, excuse me, and stuff like that. But there's more to his character than meets the eye, and you'll find out. And I'm going to go through spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, don't watch this review yet, because I'm going to go through some spoilers. It's been out since 2015, so that's pretty much 7 years almost. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, then oh well. So Dolph's a prisoner who starts to help Stone out in his quest to get Balam, who's played by Chuck Liddell. Yeah, it's funny. Like, Balam is like this big wig. He's actually not a prisoner. He uses the prison as a means to operate his business, because, and there's a point in the movie where he says that, this is the safest place to do it. And he pretty much pays off the guards to protect him. And he runs his entire empire through this prison. And it's funny because the prison guards look like something out of a SWAT tactical team. They wear masks, full body armor. So this is a pretty rough prison. Now, as Stone manipulates the inmates and everything, goes through his quest to exact his revenge, we have the female prisoners that are in a separate part of the prison. So you got the male population, and then you got the female population. Now, one other inmate is played by Danielle C. Ryan, or Turtrin, as she was known when she started in this movie, and she plays Alina. Now, there's something to her too, and I'll get to that in a minute. So, as Stone befriends William, played by Dolph Lundgren, we find out that Dolph Lundgren's character is actually an undercover FBI agent, and Elena is an undercover FBI agent that's his partner, which was kind of cool. Now, the biggest thing about this movie is there's a lot of decent action in this movie, and first and foremost, Matthew Reese is a pretty accomplished martial artist. You can tell from the movies that he's been in. So in the fight scenes, they're well choreographed. You know, it's not Raid caliber fight scenes. You know, you're not. Everybody compares movies nowadays. You know, and you're not going to get, you know, the Raid or John Wick. But for what they had and what time they had, there's a lot of solid fights in this movie. Everybody gets a chance to shine. Now, if you're a Dolph Lundgren fan, you might be disappointed, like I said, because he's more of a backseat character to Matthew Reese's character, but he still plays a prominent role and still gets his Dolph Lundgren moments. So, you know, that was pretty cool. And I got to tell you, Danielle in this movie is pretty badass herself. She has a lot of good fight scenes. So basically what happens is they orchestrate this big riot so that way Reese's Stone can get to Chuck Liddell's character. So throughout the movie, you have brawls. You know, Reese gets into all these brawls. You know, he gets into fights and everything, which are pretty, like I said, staged pretty decently. You know, there's no real shoddy camera work or anything. It's pretty smooth, you know. But the riot is the biggest part. It's probably like the last 20-25 minutes. So here's the thing. Now, the ending is pretty solid. There's a lot of good fight scenes. Reese, or I should say Stone, Jack Stone, who's his character, fights his way, you know, through this onslaught of prisoners that are, you know, breaking out or trying to break out. That's orchestrated here. And so him, Dolph Lundgren, and Danielle's character all have to fight their way through. And of course, you have the big showdown where Stone eventually, you know, hooks up with Balam, and they have a big fight in this empty room in the prison. And the only problem I had with the fight was it's kind of a short fight. I mean, it's pretty solid for what it is. You get some cool slow-mo shots. You get, you know, Reese jumping in the air in slow motion, delivering the punch. That's always a solid move. I hear a lot of people say that they're sick of seeing that move in movies, but I'm not. It's a showstopper. If you do it well, which he does, you know, how he starts off and how he moves and goes into slow motion, you know, it's a pretty solid move. I just wish that it would have been a little bit of a longer fight, you know, because they built it up. So, like I said, it's a low budget affair. You have some solid actors in it. You got the icon Dolph Lundgren in it. You know, you got a former UFC champion in it, and you got Matthew Reese, who's, again, I think one of the underrated stars working in the industry today. Hasn't done a lot of movies since. The only other movie that he's done recently that I can see, and I was looking him up on the IMDb. Let me get him up here for a second. He's got 15 credits to his name, and the last was Ghosts of War, which came out in 2020. And I remember that one. It's like a World War II horror flick. And the only movie he'd done before that was Riot in 2015. So I'm sure he's been busy doing other things, because I said he does a lot of stuff behind the camera. But as an in front of the camera actor, I think he should definitely be able to make some more movies, because he's a solid talent. Dramatically, you know, he does what it takes, you know, on the dramatic side of things. And then, of course, the physical aspects, he nails it. Like I said, he's a martial artist. You can tell he's got the moves, he's got the skill set. and he's solid in the fight scenes. So I'm here just to kind of, as as a fan, to say I want to see more of this guy in the movies. And I'd like to see, because he's real good in because like I said, he did the 11th Hour where he played a Navy SEAL, and he's solid as a military soldier. He's believable, portraying that. So I would really like to see him in some more movies. So at all, like I said, this is a review that I'm doing on my Action-FLIX webcam show, because I can't type right now because, like I said, I got one hand. And you should see me do it. I tried to do some articles, and it takes me forever just to post a trailer. So I was like, I can't do this for reviews right now. It'll take me too long. So I'm doing it video wise. And I also have the Action-FLIX podcast over on Anchor, Spotify. That's where all my interviews are. So check that out. Anywhere you listen to your podcast, I'm on there too. Action-FLIX podcast. So to sum it all up, Riot, decent action flick from 2015. Matthew Reese, Chuck Liddell, Dolph Lundgren, and Danielle C. Ryan, all solid in it. Deliver, standard performances for a B movie. Let's just call it what it is. It's it's not the Avengers. It's just a low budget prison action movie. So for what it is, I'm giving a solid 3.5 out of 5 stars. Action-FLIX approved. So if you notice my reviews, anything that's Action-FLIX approved is usually 3 or more stars. Anything less than that, if it's like a 2.5, I might enjoy a movie somewhat, but it's not enough for it to be an Action-FLIX approved. And Action-FLIX approved is something I started way back in 2015 is when I started the website. So it was the same year I started the website. So imagine that, what a small world. Just something fun to say, when I like the movie, it's Action-FLIX approved, So I just stuck with it, and it transitioned over to the new website when I transitioned from the older website, if you've been with me that long, which I hated. Of course I'm getting off topic, which I usually do, but that's fine because I'm just excited to be back, and I did the review. So like I said, check it out. I actually saw it on YouTube, not YouTube, sorry. I saw it on Netflix. So it's streaming right now on Netflix, but it's also available on DVD. I've seen it on DVD. I actually have a copy of it, but I was too lazy to put it in my Blu-ray player. So I was like, hey, it's on Netflix. So, I got a free thing, there for 3 months on Netflix. So I checked. I was like, and I've seen it before. I actually watched it when it first came out and thought it was pretty solid. So I thought I'd go back and review it. And for my first episode back, like I said, I haven't done an episode in months. I used to do Owen Frill on the Action Elite. I used to do his War Room Action Elite Live YouTube show all the time. But I gotta tell you, living with a neurological disorder is not a fun thing, people. Like I said, I've been out of work. It's been hard. My coordination sucks. My memory sucks. Now I have this I got to contend with. I got to wear this for, it's been a week. So probably another 5 to 6 weeks, maybe. And then when I get this taken off, then I got to go through some serious physical therapy to get this going again. So like I said, I'm probably going to be doing my reviews this way for a while, because sometimes I'm thinking like I'll write a review and I'll just do a quick review, but I can never do a quick review because I got so many things I want to talk about in my head. So again, just to go back to the movie Riot from 2015, it's on Netflix. I'm giving a 3.5 out of 5 stars. For what it is. Like I said, I love the actors that are in it. The action, while it's not, like John Woo or the Ray type action, it's still pretty pretty intense, pretty brutal. You get a lot of good beatdowns. You get some signature moves from everybody. And like I said, the camera angles and the motion works for it. There's nothing choppy about it. They just let the actors do their thing, because they're all trained. They all know what they're doing, so that's always a good thing. Because, when you got to put people in, that's when you got to do like the fake stuff and editing and stuff like that. And that's when things get choppy. So if you want to check it out, go ahead. It's got my recommendation. If you check it out, let me know what you think. Shoot me a line. You can always comment here on my YouTube channel, ACTION-FLIX. Like and subscribe. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a lot more because all I've been doing on my YouTube channel has been posting trailers that I get from, PR people. They send me trailers to put out. And that's pretty much all I've been doing. And I've been getting a lot of views for these trailers, but I'm like, I gotta do more for my fans because I'm up to 147 subscribers, which is pretty good, for somebody that that's not known in the industry. But I'm just gonna talk for a couple more minutes, just give you some things that I got planned coming up. So like I said, I got my neurological disorder, so I have to write stuff down. And before I was doing everything pre-recorded. My interviews, when I talk to people, it's all written down. I got all the questions written down so I don't lose, my train of thought. But this is my first live show, so I'm winging it. So be kind because, like I said, it's not an easy thing to live with. Plus I got this going on, this feels like somebody sent me with a baseball bat right now. So I just want to again thank everybody. I'm gonna do another live show tomorrow night. I'll give you the topic then. I'm gonna hopefully try to do one for Wednesday. I'm gonna try to get some guests on my podcast show. And this Friday, I'm gonna plug again my bro Owen Friel from the Action Elite. We're doing another Action Elite Live, the War Room. And we're going to be talking about none other than Steven Seagal's introductory to action cinema, Above the Law. I actually just watched it today, but I'll probably watch it again on Friday because that's what happens. I have to watch things more than once to review it because, again, my memory's not the greatest right now. But like I said, I'm just doing what I can. I got no bells and whistles with my show, because I'm telling it how it is. So, I'm out of work. I got a wonderful wife. She's working. She's supporting. Trying to get some things going. But it's a long road to recovery. And this is helping me. So if you can, when I'm talking, when I go live, just send me a comment and say, hey, I love what you're doing, John. That's my thing. Like Owen over at the Action League. We're just two guys who love action movies, old school. I've been there since the beginning, I'm 49. I'm going to be 50 December 10th of this year. So big 50 for me. So I feel like my body's breaking down. So, but we'll see how it goes. And again, I just want to thank everybody for your support. And I think I'm going to enjoy doing it this way because, like I said, and I just winged it. I didn't write anything down for Riot. I just watched it and just said, here we go. I'm going to just lay down the line and here's my review for it. Like I said, so going back to Riot from 2015, Matthew Reese is the star. Chuck Liddell's the bad guy. Dolph Lundgren is Matthew's backup. Can't beat it. A lot of good fights. The ending earns its name, Riot. You got prisoners everywhere. You got decent action. It's, pretty much contained, one of those type of movies. It's like a Die Hard movie where it's contained to one building, in the prison. There's some stuff, on the outside, like when the bank robbery and everything that's shot from the outside. And there's a side plot with a reporter that's trying to help Stone out, which, really doesn't go anywhere. But pretty much it's the prison that this is mostly shot at. So, and it's an hour and a half, and it's like an hour and 27 minutes. So it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's wham bam, and there you go. You got fist fights galore. And uh, and like I said, and this is what I've been saying in my reviews for a while now. I've been reviewing some of Bruce Willis's movies because, as you know, it finally came out that Bruce Willis is suffering from a neurological disorder. So I can relate to Bruce and what he's going through. Because a lot of his symptoms are what I have. Okay. So I've been watching some of his movies as of late. Now, of course, he's been pumping out a lot of these direct to video movies. And some of them, I'm going to tell you. And again, I don't, and I talk about these movies differently now that I know that I knew about Bruce's condition a long time before a lot of people did, because we on the inside had some, knowledge from directors and stuff that have worked with him. So, his last case, A Day to Die, just recently came out. I did a review on ACTION-FLIX.com, so check it out. And also Gasoline Alley, which was before that just came out. And that's also on ACTION-FLIX.com. I was able to write that when I had use of both arms. Solid action B movies. Like I said, Bruce Willis is Bruce Willis. He does what he can. He's not in the movies that much. He's in a select scenes. He pretty much films his scenes in a day, maybe two. They said, like I said, Gasoline Alley, Devon Sawa carries the movie. He's the star. And A Day to Die, you got Kevin Dillon and Frank Grillo. Frank Grillo is solid in anything he does. Like I said last Friday on Owen's show, I could watch Frank Grillo in a soap opera because he is so amazing. Watching those movies, I'm like, I wanted to see things blow up, people get shot, and that's what I got, And like I said, and Devon Sawa and Gasoline Alley and Kevin Dillon and Frank Grillo over on A Day to Die. It was they were for what they were: cheap, lower independent action movies that probably took 2 weeks to film. And they were pretty decent, and I gave them good reviews. I think I gave them both 3.5s. 3.5 is kind of the standard. If something's really good, I'll go 4.5. I have given 5s to some, so, and that's just how I roll. If I think a movie deserves something, I'm going to give it, and I'm going to tell you why. Either I loved it, I liked it, or I hated it. I'll always tell you why. I won't keep you in the dark. All right. So going back to what we were talking about with RIOT. Solid movie. It's on Netflix right now. I don't know how long it's going to be on there for us. The movies disappear on there when they lose their licenses, to the movies. So it's not going to be on there forever. But check it out. Solid movie. And then if you want The 11th Hour and One Shot, I think One Shot and 11th Hour are on Tubi right now. Tubi, the free movie and TV site, which is another good website, especially for me, who's out of work. You get commercials, but it's the unedited movie, and they have a lot of selection up there. They got well-known movies and movies that I haven't seen in years. So, definitely check that out. All right, so until next time, we got RIOT, 3.5 out of 5 stars, ACTION-FLIX approved. I talked about some other stuff here tonight. I wanted to keep it to about a half an hour, which I'm going to do, which is great. And I'm going to post this on my website. So make sure, you check it out on my website. I got the video all queued up and ready to go. And I will do a short little article where I don't have to write so much on it. This week, be on the lookout. I'm going to do a review for the new action thriller 9 Bullets, which I got the screener for a while ago, starring Lena Headey and Sam Worthington. It's one of those where a tough person has to protect a child. We've seen that in the past, but now we got Lena Headey doing it, and Sam Worthington's the heavy in that one. So I'm not going to say anything about that because I'm going to save it for my review. And then I also got a screener to the movie Black Site, which stars Michelle Mahanigan and Jason Clarke and Jai Courtney. That looks pretty solid. I haven't been able to check that out yet, but that doesn't come out until May, so I have to wait anyways. So a lot of good things coming up. So I'm going to be doing my reviews with my cool stuff in the back. You can see my fanboy stuff in the back. And you can see I'm a Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow fan. I got Wolverine back there. I got Marvel's Avengers. Don't worry, I got action movies too. It's just you can't see them. It's on the other side. This is my little oasis, my little ACTION-FLIX haven, if you will. This is where I get away from it all. You know, I'm the only guy in the house. I got a wonderful wife and three gorgeous girls. I love them to death, but sometimes you need some some alone time to talk about action movies. All right, so guys, here we go. We're at a half an hour, so I'm gonna say peace from there. Say follow my website, actionflix.com. I've been doing it since 2015. This August marks year number 7. Been doing it for 7 years. And if you check out the website and see how great it looks and all the people I've interviewed and talked to, I got Marshall Teague. I just talked to him. He's on the ACTION-FLIX podcast over on Anchor and Spotify and anywhere else you listen to your podcast. I got a couple more coming up. I'm not going to say who though. All right, because I'm hooking them up. But I'm going to interview Marshall Teague again. He wants me to he's to interview him again because I asked him. So I didn't get into his Michael Bay films or anything like that. We only talked about Roadhouse, you know, and Patrick Swayze and Walker Texas Ranger. So I'm going to have another great interview with him. I recently talked to Chan Michael Collins. As you know, he's from the Sniper films for his new movie, Assailant, that just came out, Redbox Entertainment. So I've interviewed him in the past. Great guy. He's been supporting me since the beginning of my website. Can't say enough good things about him. He's the best. I finally got to interview Michael Jai White, Daniel Bernhardt. Oh my God. So Scott Adkins, I've interviewed 6 or 7 times. I've lost count. If you told me I would have interviewed Scott Adkins 6 or 7 times, you know, before I started doing this, I would have said, you're crazy. But here I am. All right. So there we go. Riot, 3.5 out of 5 stars. ACTION-FLIX approved. Check it out. It's on Netflix right now. You can't beat it. It does what it says it's going to do. You got fists and feet. A little bit of guns, not too much. There's a pretty cool shootout with the bank robbery and everything. But other than that, it's pretty much just smackdowns and beatdowns. Can't beat it. All right. Until then, I'm going to tell you, actionflix.com. We are your destination for everything in action. Until tomorrow, I got another one coming for you. Have a good night, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow.